Phoenix Down Radio is on the air. With your hosts, Klaus Nightbringer, Sertomono, Seyo Mayo, and Luna Vox.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 24. How's everybody doing tonight?
I made my own pita chips.
I heard about that. How'd they turn out?
Crunchy, salty, garlicky.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything...
News you can use, people.
What about everybody else?
That sounds exactly like the opposite of what I have right now. I have double vanilla ice cream and I want to put your pita chips in my ice cream. Don't take that the wrong way.
As long as that's not a euphemism, that sounds great.
Only on Phoenix Down Radio, folks. Let's go ahead and bring it into the game. All right.
That took a record 35 seconds, Klaus.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
I'm here to please.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
We've got a full house. For those who were expecting Aya and Shannon this week, sadly they could not join us. But we are working very hard to get that rescheduled, so fret not. They will be joining us again, and we will be having our interview with them as soon as possible. So please look forward to it. Okay, so with that said, we had to come up with an emergency topic to discuss today. Thank you guys so much for coming together real quick to get this taken care of. So everybody who's watching us live at twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio, welcome. Thank you so much. We've got a lot of people here, and you can see in the background, we've got Costa del Sol back there, and we have Luna's, what do you call them?
Luna's squad.
They are the Pussy Elite Power Squad. Thank you.
So yeah, that's a thing.
Going.
Hey, don't hate. We look fabulous.
Well, you can barely see them, but they're down there. They're between Luna and I. You can kind of see them back there. So hi, guys.
They
Thanks
have fireworks going off. They make themselves be seen. I'm proud of them.
Yep, there's their little fireworks down there going on with the big fireworks in the background and the all the hustle and bustle of Costa del Sol, because it is Moonfire Faire, people. And I like the theme this year. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I
wonderfully
do.
Silly.
Well, most of us are all dressed up for the event. We've got, I'm the Gold Ranger. We've got Sarah the Blue Ranger and Luna the Green Ranger. And somebody didn't do their quest. So I
was told to wait.
They're the mascot.
I was told to wait until they hotfixed some pretty crappy things that were going on. But
yeah.
Whoever told you that is wrong.
Well, initially when it started, yes, it was pretty bad. I mean, there was some people a lot of people were queuing up nicely to take the time to get the mobs they needed and go on their merry way. Some people were being rude about it and just jumping on everything and killing the mobs before they could be captured. So yeah.
Okay.
Not in the
let me tell you what was happening. I was on here right when it launched, okay?
Wow.
I was right here, and I went there, and, okay, so in Costa, you're freaking level 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
These mobs
Probably.
are level 30s. They were level 60s. Shooting them, one-shotting them.
Oh,
being
so
freaking douchebags about it.
Oh, they were just totally trolling you, huh?
Yeah, they were trolling.
Oh, that's
literally, there was a freaking bard there, and you just go, doink, doink, doink.
Seems like they gave up on it fairly quickly, at least.
Yeah, they got bored with it apparently. So, but you got a few douche nozzles who got to take the event and ruin it for people. But then you got people. There were pictures of people actually queuing like they used to do in Final Fantasy XI for different events. You remember that, right?
Like back when the Adventuring Fellow came out, and he had that huge line at Gelspa Outpost.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, people were actually being nice and doing the right thing. And then when I did it this morning, the lines weren't nearly as, there was nobody doing it. So, I mean, I was able to do it without issue. So, and there was a lot of mobs up now. So,
yeah, to those lining up, being nice to your fellow players, good on you. Gold star for you. The rest of you that are going, doink, friggin' one-shotting them, you dumb and bad. Unsub.
Well, I heard somebody in the chat, Eternal Snowflake, is saying that the guy doing it got ban-hammered, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's reportable harassment, so.
Yeah, that's true. So
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah, don't stand for that kind of crap. The
No.
GMs are
Sarah,
very
you're kind
proactive
of
about.
behind me right now. You might want to move your Scooty Puff up.
It is the best Scooty Puff. But
Yes.
yeah, no, the GMs are pretty proactive. If you have people who are being harassing, who are actively taking away from the enjoyment of others, report that. They get talked to, they get banned.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so a little bit of discussion there. Let's talk about some game and community news. Let's start with some community news from right here on Hyperion. Luna, want to take it away?
Well, for those who don't know, last Saturday, a week ago, I actually held my role-playing community's first big event, prom night, basically. And I was really, really nervous. I didn't think I didn't think many people would show up. Turns out we had about, I want to say probably 60 plus people showing up, dancing.
Nice.
It was nuts. We had people, I live stream music through my Twitch channel for people to listen, and I had about 35 people in there at once, constantly throughout the night. We did a bunch of contests, and most of it was really well received. We even, God damn it, at the end of the night, we had a prom king and queen, which Klaus, you were nominated for. Did you know that?
Who the hell would have nominated me?
Someone nominated you.
Wow, well, I'm honored, but I couldn't make it, sadly. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Klaus, you didn't win.
Oh.
You got 4 votes.
Hey, wow. Hey, you know what? That's more than I would have gotten at my high school prom, so.
Yay.
I'll take it. For not being there, cheers for people who voted for me.
But no, you're not even. Okay, the worst part is, or the best part. The best part is, the person who did win prom king was a stuffed bear, a housing item. You got beaten out by a housing item.
That's all right. Well, but they were present, so they should win.
Mr. Raspberry Jam is a very, very good prom king, and our prom queen was one of my good friends, Maribel Silverwind. So shout out to her and to Mr. Raspberry Jam for being the royals of the prom king and queen, and thank you to everyone who came by and showed up. And I have a lot more things planned for the future, so definitely if you want to figure out about coming to that or just being on the inside loop of what's going to happen, definitely give me a follow on Twitter, Luna_Vox, or just keep your ears out.
Yeah, we might also try and get some of them out right here on our Phoenix Down Radio one as well.
I'll be talking about them here too, so definitely tune in.
Exactly. So yeah, make sure if you're not following us here, please do. We are still having that contest for our Twitch follows. Once we hit 200 Twitch follows, and we got 5 new ones tonight, so thank you for everybody who's been following us tonight. As soon as we hit that 200 Twitch followers, we are going to pick a random person to get a Mog Station minion. So please, if you have not already, go ahead and click on that little follow button down there. You'll be notified when we go live for the show, for any other random streams and things like that, and you'll be able to know when we go live. And like I said, once we hit 200, we're going to give away that minion, so look forward to that. Regarding the streams, I do want to apologize to everybody for not streaming for the past 2 weeks since the last episode. I personally have been dealing with some issues where I didn't want to really log into the game so much, and we're going to discuss a little bit more about that. Because that's burnout and motivation to sign into games is a real big problem that a lot of game publishers have to deal with, and players as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight as soon as we get into our discussion topic. But like I said, I just wanted to address the whole thing with not streaming a little bit more, so you guys are aware of that. I'm hoping to get back into it here a little bit now that I've had a chance to kind of maybe I don't know what's the word that I'm looking for here, guys.
Give yourself a little TLC.
Yeah, stuff like that. Kind of deal with all that. So hopefully we'll be back more and doing some more fun content. We still need to do that Phoenix Down Radio Palace of the Dead run.
Yeah.
That.
One of these days we'll get there. I swear. We say a lot of stuff though, don't we?
We do.
Yeah, we do.
But we mean this one, probably.
Most likely.
Yeah.
All right, so continuing with the game news. Speaking of people who maybe have been away from the game for a while, the Final Fantasy XIV free login campaign has started up again. People who have not logged in or had an active subscription for the past 30 days, I believe, you get up to 5 days, 120 hours to play the game. If you want to come in and just see what you're missing. This is a good time for it. We've got so many events going on right now. We've got the Moonfire Faire. We've got Yokai Watch. It's a thing.
Oh man, you can spend all 120 hours farming yokai.
Yeah, that's true. And we've got, Palace of the Dead, all that. There's some decent things going on, I mean, for somebody who's just getting back into the game, it's content that you're able to get into pretty easily without having to put in a lot of time. So, I mean, it's not bad that way. So, it gives you a chance to do it for free. If you have friends who used to play, mention this to them. Tell them, hey, sign in with your account information. Start downloading that patch. But remember, as soon as you start downloading that patch, your time starts. So don't do it before work.
So it's like when you actually first sign into.
Correct. It's not you get okay. It's not like the old AOL discs where you got so many hours a month of internet type of thing where it was only when you were connected. No, it's once you start, the timer starts. You got 5 days from that point.
Take a long weekend or something.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got a long weekend coming up, that's a great time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's cool that they do stuff like that to give people a chance to come back and see what they're missing, see if it's something they can come back to.
One of the things I appreciate is that I've seen other campaigns like that. I know Final Fantasy XI has one periodically where it'll be for some extended period. And with this one, it's, hey, we've got this, it's still going to not be a super long period, but they give the flexibility on when you do it, rather than just having it be a designated week.
Yep, and I believe you have through the month of August to utilize this. So it's not so once August 31st hits, any unused time is going to be gone. So you'll want to start before the last day of the month, type of thing.
Get yourself a posing ranger outfit.
Yep, go posing ranger.
Oh man, one of the NPCs will do One of the NPCs will do the full lyrics for the song. It's kind of great.
They really do their best at localization, don't they?
They do.
They're having a great time.
God, I hope we can talk to Koji sometime about this, huh? Okay, moving on.
5 hours of puns right there.
Yeah, please look forward to it. There's a new minion, or new mount available out on the Mog Station. It's a Fat Moogle flying mount. It's a 2-person mount, and it's $30.
Oh my God, why?
That's a lot of money.
It's cute. It's cute, but not $30 worth of cute.
Yeah. I mean, it is good for all characters on your account. So, I mean, if you've got a lot of alts, I mean, every character gets it.
Yeah, but still, $15 I can see as being more reasonable, but $30? No.
Well,
30 is a bit much.
Yeah. Granted, yes, a lot of it's all glamour stuff. None of it's, relevant to, end game, or it's not pay to win. But yeah, it's cash grab.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really looking for a 2-person mount, I think the best option would be to try and get three friends to join the game and play for 3 months and get the feathers for the
Well,
the draft chocobo, right?
Well, you only need 8 feathers for that, which is only 2 months worth. Actually, it's their initial reward plus the next month, I believe. Then you'll have 10 feathers at that point. You only need 8 of them to buy that mount.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's three sets of rewards to get the Twinny mount.
All right.
Also, if you wanted to get the draft pillion chocobo, the white one, you can pay for the platinum wedding package. That's $20.
No one flies too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think it
they
does.
all do.
Yeah, I don't
They
have
all
that
do.
mount because, well, I'm not game married, so, which is all right.
Yeah,
But-
they all fly.
It's, like I said, I mean, I understand why they're doing it. It's
Mhm.
This is the type of stuff that pays for extra development for things like Gold Saucer, and paid for things like the data center over in EU.
Like Lords of Verminion.
You're not lying, but
Or the prizes they give out at FanFest.
yeah, it also pays for stuff
Yeah.
like that too. So I mean, it's not like it's all going into everybody's pockets. Like, oh, these guys are stupid, but
Yoshi P rolling around on a pile of money.
I could see him swimming around in a giant money bin. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Okay,
In a
Scrooge.
giant
That's
Scrooge McDuck
Yeah,
pile.
exactly.
Did you not see the Family Guy episode? That stuff's not a liquid. It's a layer that behaves as a solid.
But only Scrooge McDuck could do it. Did you never notice that? He was the
Oh.
only one in the show who could do it.
So why did they not show the other people trying it and then getting badly battered and injured?
Didn't they?
I don't think so.
But
I feel like I would have remembered.
Well,
that.
it was a children's show, so maybe they didn't want to show all the injury and such.
And the vault gets depleted just a little bit to pay for those liability lawsuits.
Dun, dun, dun.
Anyway, moving on. For those of you who are addicted to mobile games, like many of us here, there's a brand new Final Fantasy mobile game that was released on Wednesday. Mobius Final Fantasy was released for Android and iOS. For those who aren't familiar with what Mobius Final Fantasy is, it's basically another... it's actually closer to a console-style Final Fantasy. It's got... it's kind of... How do I explain it?
It seemed a little bit more like action RPG-ish.
Yes, it you go along points, choose the locations, and the one thing I like about it is it does make use of elemental weaknesses. So that's a thing.
Huh.
I'm gonna
Really?
wait until they release Final Fantasy Go. Thank you.
That's called World of Final Fantasy, and it's coming out in October.
God damn it.
A wild Aerith appeared. Go, Sephiroth! Use Hell's Gate!
It's super
Damn
effective.
it, I knocked it out. I wanted to catch
No, you stabbed it through the heart.
Actually,
.jpg.
according to the game theory episode, wasn't it like the inferior Vena Cava or something? I don't know.
No
Anyway,
idea.
I don't know exactly where in her heart she was stabbed by that sword.
She was
but
stabbed for crying out loud. Like
why
epically.
but why
You
couldn't
ain't
somebody
coming
use a
back from that.
phoenix down? I mean, people are blown up with meteors, hit with Ultima, Firaga, all that good stuff. Yet one sword in a heart kills a person. Really? Come on.
Well, I mean, I
Obviously,
always figured the stuff in battle, it's like a hand wave. Like they're right up and hitting, but like maybe you manage to catch the blow the right way, or your armor absorbs some of it. Like, I always figured it's just some kind of abstraction. It's not like that really direct life-ending hit.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if they've got these life, these raise spells, it just really it's just yeah. We can get into this another time.
Sephiroth covered his blade with Aerithoth, the only truly effective anti-Cetra repellent.
Moving on.
Anyways,
If you're interested in Mobius Final Fantasy, do give it a download. It actually isn't a terrible game. It's fun to start with because you build levels relatively fast and you can play different jobs in that. It's like I said, it's something that's hard for me to explain. You just need to give it a try and see if it's something you like. If you do, cool. The graphics are really nice. It's limited to just 2 chapters right now, but they're going to be adding more in the future. So give it a try, and otherwise there's always Brave Exvius or Record Keeper or any of the other Final Fantasy games available on mobile right now.
They've come out with a lot lately.
Yeah, I mean, even most of the old console games are on mobile now, like 3, 4.
Mobile does seem to be the way that things are moving at this point.
So some of these games, those games aren't really designed to be run on a phone.
I am still kind of grumpy at the iOS port for Final Fantasy V. The graphics are really annoying.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But anyway, so that's a thing. The 14-hour anniversary broadcast was announced for Friday, August 26th at 8 p.m. More information will be coming soon on the Lodestone. They really haven't given enough info on it yet as far as where it's going to be streamed at or the content of it. But there'll be more on the Lodestone available soon, so look forward to that. The last one was pretty funny, didn't they? Didn't one of them, they do an Atma challenge like in the first one?
Yeah, they referenced that during the anniversary event where they had the guy riding on that bucking bronco, was it? Or wait, no, that was a different one. They did a lot of Atma challenges, didn't they?
Yeah,
They did
and then last year wasn't it a
50 minion challenge?
A minion challenge, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was, if I remember correctly.
So I wonder what they're going to make him do this year.
14 hours is a lot of time.
Are they going to make him get all the yokai?
Oh, God.
They could. No, they're going to see if he can get his glowy Scooty Puff Jr.
Oh, God.
In 14 hours.
No, he's not going to. No way.
Hey, Sarah did it.
In 14
It took me
hours?
significantly more than 14 hours. Everyone, to poor life choices.
Huzzah!
Something like that.
Hashtag not doing it.
Yeah, same here. Not doing it.
Yeah, well,
Hashtag might do it on an alt.
Sarah, you have a problem.
Yes, he still needs about 200 medals.
and the only
Oh
cure
my
is more cowbell.
No.
Is cowbell a medal? Can I have some cowbell medals?
Cowbell is made out of metal. Final Fantasy XIV will be in Cologne, Germany for Gamescom. That's coming up on August 17th through the 21st.
Woo!
And oh my God, do they get shirts?
Oh man,
Yeah.
so many shirts.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, we'll be linking a lot of this information out on our show notes page when we put the podcast up. But they're going to be doing the Thornton challenge Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and the Sephiroth challenge on Thursday and Saturday. And each one of those is going to have the I Beat shirt. So I Beat Sephiroth and I Beat Thornton. There's going to be a challenge roulette battle where you spin the wheel and you challenge various battles with different random handicaps. And if you beat that, you're going to get a challenge roulette shirt.
Those are pretty fun. They had that at the first Fan Fest. There were ones like shirtless where you couldn't wear any body in the body slot. Or I think there was one where there was some maximum eye level you could have, and so you could.
I level 70 Ramu, which is not pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
sounds
like
like it.
definitely some of the wheel was not about having whatever you get, it'll be a balanced one. Some of them were a lot harder. There were a couple of them that were, hey, this is a free slot, no additional challenge on it. It's just kind of a way to make it a little bit more chaotic and interesting.
Interesting. There's going to be a PvP showdown, so you're going to have people playing the feast, and they're going to be giving away Claws and Fangs t-shirts to the winning teams. Those are actually pretty nice looking shirts, nice bright blue and red shirts. There's also going to be a battle stage where they're going to do Nidhogg and give away Nidhogg t-shirts. So if you want to battle in front of everybody watching, you can do that. And then there's going to be other random loot as well given away by Yoshi and staff. So if you're in the Germany area and want to go check that out, go get all the loots. Chili, we expect to have t-shirts from you. I'm kidding, but we want t-shirts.
He's not kidding.
Not kidding?
He's really
Sorry,
not.
not sorry.
No. I give Chili a hard time because he's over in the UK and he's a lot closer than we are, and he has actually a possibility maybe to get sent over there. So I don't know, but I'm sure he'd love to go there, catch all the Pokemons. I'm sure there's a lot of them over there, isn't there?
Seems plausible.
Hey, the more cellular activity there is in a given spot, the more Pokemon
Yeah,
pop.
that's very true. Moving on, they announced the different contests for FanFest. They're doing an art and a costume contest, and the submission periods are open for both of them between now and August 31st at basically midnight Pacific time.
You get
So-
some really incredible entries in those.
Yep. So
Like,
if
just
you
really skillful professional level stuff.
if you
And a
want
lot of fun amateurs, too.
if you want to enter the costume contest, you have to submit your entry during this time frame. You don't have to have your cosplay done, but you have to have the your idea and the entry submitted by the 31st. So make sure you're doing that. You can't just show up and expect to be in the contest. But the art submission contest is one entry per person. And they gave email addresses that you can submit your entries to for each of these. Festival 2016 _ art and Fan Festival 2016 _ costume at us.square-enix.com is where you can enter those if you're interested. We'll link to the Lodestone page with all the information. But it's out on the actually the FanFest website, FFXIV-fanfest.com. So you can find all that information out there if you're really interested. Luna, are you going to enter the art contest?
I've been debating it. I don't know yet, but we'll see.
Might have to decide soon.
Yep.
I know.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if the ones that have to be actually physically mailed have to actually be just postmarked by the 31st, or if they you just have to say that you're sending it in and so they can expect it.
Yeah. I do wonder about that because I remember for the Final Fantasy XI one, someone actually created a bento for it, and I can't remember if they actually had a chance where it's like they submitted one with pictures and then they were able to remake it for the actual show, or if there was a different way that they handled that. But I do remember that was one of the more striking entries.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Like I said, if you're interested, that's your window is open now, so make sure to take advantage of it. Speaking of other
Make it happen.
Other
It'll be fun.
contests, they announced the finalists for the Tank Gear Design Contest. Did you guys get a chance to take a look at some of those entries that they picked?
I
All of these
did.
are incredible.
Like, there are some freaking professional level people here.
Yeah,
Both
this
in
is
terms of the creativity and the illustration.
the hell of a community we've got here. I really want that bucket tank.
The bucket tank.
The bucket tank. I think it's adorable.
Of course you do.
Don't you think it's adorable?
It is. It is. You
I would
want to get a
never-
bucket tank? Is that what you're telling us?
I would never wear it, but I would love to see Seiya wear it.
I hope that Gubu one exists not necessarily as a tank one, but just as a future cute thing.
I mean, they reserve the right to add any of these entries into the game at later points, but
But they're definitely going to do the top winner.
yes, for sure.
Oh yeah.
So they're going to be picking a winner and announcing that on the 27th.
You know, you have about as much chance as seeing me in that as I don't know.
Fat chocobo head and chocobo body.
Normally I would say that, but I just don't really play tanks all that much. So
You got to come up with the analogy before you start saying it, man. But yeah, there's definitely like not just the skill level, but also the diversity of designs. Seeing some of them very silly, some of them very serious, intricate. Couple of really, there was one that's done with a lot of sort of like skins and leathers. It's called Old World Defender Garb. That was really intriguing, just because hey, don't see that type of thing as much.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot of creativity that went through on that. So I mean, I'm really happy to see all that coming out of our community.
Mhm.
So
The
yeah.
frilly royalish one also is kind of great. I'm tempted.
All right, so Moonfire Faire started yesterday and runs through August 26th. You can go to the to Limsa Upper Decks, basically where most of those fates start, and talk with the guy with the really funny name. I forgot his name.
hey now, that's
It's
racist.
But it is a really funny name, you have to admit that.
I'm sorry, what was that, Sayo Mayo?
Yes.
Sayo Mayo.
He's all organic.
Oh, I
And-
was going to take a drink there, but no more. Goodbye.
But anyway, once you start the quest, then you come out here and you go to the hut that's now obscured by the fog. You can kind of see
Thanks, Fog.
you can kind of see the bouncing bombs back there, and you just run a bunch of quests, do a few fates, bada bing, bada boom, and you're opposing ranger.
They're pretty quick. It's definitely something that's more about, hey, we're going to have a fun, silly story here. One thing that I'll mention, since I think a lot of people may not know, if all of those the quests except for the finale one are repeatable, and each time you do it, the opposing rangers do talk about different things and tell you a little bit more about their lives and their history.
Yeah. Plus, then you get the pose like what Luna did. There's actually 3 books you can buy with a total of 6 poses. Basically, they're the same pose, but it's left and right.
Oh yeah.
So you've got Red Ranger, Yellow Ranger, and Black Ranger.
Oh my God! That
Nicely
was kind of
timed.
perfect, Luna.
Nicely timed. Very nice.
That's amazing.
Very nice.
Oh.
Congrats. And you get the Diable Legacy Warrior armor. So like I said, we can all be our own different colored warrior. I tried to be red, but they yelled at me.
There's already a red one. You can't be the red one.
Well, I was going to be blue, but then Sayre said that he was blue. I was like, I'm already blue. But
Then
I mean,
try to be the red one.
Gold is like perilously close to yellow, but it's kind of gleaming and burnished enough that I think it works.
yeah, I was afraid it was going to be really gaudy, like most of the gold stuff that gets dyed with that. But no,
Yeah,
it
if you
actually,
want to go back to the source material, it is different than yellow.
yeah, it's
Yep.
it's almost on par with red actually, in a lot of ways.
I mean, those metallic dyes on fabrics and on leathers tend to look a lot gaudier, but if it's on something that is metal, it tends to work a lot better in my experience.
Yeah, it actually turned out okay. I'm actually not that disgusted by it.
No, you're looking pretty good.
It looks decent.
Yeah.
I liked the red better that I had because I used the Dalamud red, but
Ooh, good color.
yep, I got so many pots of that too. So I mean, I'm not worried about being out a few of them, but
Yeah. The only thing that's really unfortunate is they give us a coronet instead of a cool mask like theirs. So
Yeah.
if you want to have that mask thing, I think only monks and possibly ninjas can wear that exact model.
yeah, it's of striking. So yeah, you have to be specific jobs to wear it.
Yep.
I'm surprised they didn't create a mask like that works for everybody.
How are
Yeah.
we supposed to hide our identities?
I just
They
stuck with my
already know we're the
sunglasses.
Warrior
So
of Light. They already know. It's too late.
all
No,
right.
Sarah. The question is, how are we supposed to hire stunt doubles to do all of our action scenes?
Wait, you guys get stunt doubles?
Oh shit, you got screwed.
Oh, I need to talk to my agent about this.
So aside from the
Yeah.
emotes that you can buy and the armor, you can also get a firefly lamp outdoor furnishing, which you can also use as a Lalafell cage.
If you do use it as a firefly cage, you can actually interact with it to release a batch of fireflies into the air, which is surprisingly calming.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. You can have up to 5 per estate, regardless of the size. And then you also get the Moonfire Faire orchestrion roll. I'm hoping they release the Fate music roll.
I know, me too. God, I was so pissed. I went home and I'm like, oh, I really hope this is the Fate music. Nope.
Nope,
It
it's
is
just the
not.
normal Moonfire Faire music, which is fun on its own, but it's not the special
Yeah.
Sentai style music.
Yeah, no, I definitely get fired up listening to that song.
No, what we really want is the Sentai version of A8. That's what we need for an orchestrion roll.
I mean, A8 practically already is Sentai.
It's supposed to be Transformers, I think, not Sentai, right? So
Well, no, I'm talking the music. The music when Brute Justice comes out is very Sentai. Come on.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
And the kids yelling transform.
yeah, that was apparently that was from a Japanese Transformers. It was that actually corresponded to the 5 A8 robots that there are, like the Manipulator, Swindler, Brawler,
Yeah.
Vortexer, and I can't remember the last one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, it's still got a total Sentai feel. And I just like saying Sentai.
It's so close to Senpai.
Yep, you're my Sentai senpai.
It also sounds like hentai, so
So you've got a Sentai, Senpai, Hentai?
Hentai.
I'm pretty sure that already exists. Like internet. That
All right.
exists.
And as Luna is pointing out, we'd also have the Yokai Watch event, and as Sarah had out as well.
There we go.
get them out.
I have not done enough of it to get all the mounts or all the minions, so I am not a
can
Scooty
tell you
Puff squad.
about that. So when you started out, you do get one medal to start with. You also get a wristband. Any fate you participate in the old world areas gets you another one of those basic medals. It's 73 total, I believe, to get all the minions, but you start out with one, so 72 fates, and that's pretty much anywhere.
Yep, and
Separately,
then go ahead.
Separately from that, if you have a minion out, then in particular areas, you can sometimes get a legendary medal. You don't have to be wearing the watch for that bit. So once you've gotten enough medals to get all the minions, you can just ditch the watch, and then you don't have to be clearing out your inventory all the time.
Yeah, especially when you have to get 220 of these legendary medals for the different areas.
222, thank you. I had a
222?
spreadsheet tracking this.
Regardless, it's overkill.
Yeah, it's 7 medals for the first one, then 9, then 11, and then 15 for most of the weapons after that, but it's 30 for the last 3. So if there's just a couple weapons that you want, it's actually pretty feasible. It'll go relatively quickly. If you are going for that full set of 13, then you are going to be in for the long haul.
Yeah, if you want Glowing Scooty Puff Jr., you need all 222.
Plus a couple extra bonus scenes with the Wandering Minstrel, who has some entertaining interactions with the Ora Nohi.
Were they drinking?
No.
At the bar?
They were teasing each other, challenging each other to fights. That Ora, by the way, Nohi, is of course absolutely no relation to level 5 CEO Akihiko Hino.
Exactly.
This is the type of thing that you do when you're a game executive, apparently. You hang out and you're like, hey, your game is cool. Your game is cool too. Hey, you want to make a version of each other to be in our games? That sounds hilarious. Like, I'm pretty sure, with a slight paraphrase, that's exactly what happened.
It sounds about right. I think Hino is a very avid 14 player, and he actually put Yoshida under some pressure in one of the I think it was like an open panel or something that happened recently.
Yeah, it's good times.
I think there was more alcohol involved, though.
Also good times.
Lots of alcohol involved.
You're probably not wrong.
And money.
But yeah, as long as you're not trying to go for collecting everything, it's actually fairly doable with a minimum of grind. It's only once you've decided, and I actually do appreciate that they decided to backload the grind, so for the people who aren't really up for it, they don't get hit nearly as hard.
So if you want to go fate grind and level up some alt jobs, put on your Yokai Watch.
I took Monk from 57 to 60 just on those fates. And then Dark Knight halfway to 60 as well.
In the old world.
Yes.
In the old world.
Anyone who is thinking about doing this, if you don't know already, save the fates in Outer Lenosha for last. The 2 Beastmen dailies ones up in Ugamaro Mines. As soon as one is completed, the other spawns, so you can go back and forth between those fates relatively quickly. So
and
that's
fast.
Yeah. Especially once you've got a lot of people doing them, since a lot of people know about this now.
And
so that becomes a little bit faster way to grind out those last ones where you need 30 each. So save those long grinds for that.
I'm sure
Do you have a spreadsheet for...
Yes.
You should maybe look into sharing that with us so we can share it with our viewers and our listeners.
I found it on Reddit somewhere. I'll grab the link.
That would be wonderful, because I'm sure that people that do not have their Scooty Puff Juniors would appreciate that.
Don't do what I did, people. There's still a chance. Yeah, you should go for it. It'll be hilarious.
For you.
All right. And just released today was a new tale from the Dragon Song War. The first of 4 parts. Did you guys read that? I was like, oh my god.
I haven't yet. I want to.
No, it's so beautiful.
and sad.
Yeah.
I was
I
actually
got
very
halfway through
sad.
it. I only
I
got
had-
halfway through it.
I had not caught the link to the Hildebrand quest and the NPC from there. So, like, kind of taking that thing that was kind of silly and putting a little bit of a darker tinge on it.
Yeah, I mean it's actually it's mostly pretty dark, but I mean right at the beginning there's that little link. To the a certain what are they called? Inquisitor. Yes, he's not named, but you kind of figure out who he is.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's very good. We're gonna link that in the show notes as well. So make sure if you have not yet read that one, make sure to go check it out. Those of you who are really interested in the lore of the game will definitely appreciate it. It's well written.
Yeah, and we've got another 3 coming up, 1 a week, so...
Wow, 1 a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably just leading up to the Rising, I'm assuming.
That's possible.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was a lot of news. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the game. If you like what you're listening to so far and you have not yet followed us, please do. We'd appreciate that. And you're watching us live, go ahead and click on that little link at the bottom and follow us. We, like I said, would appreciate that. If you're listening to us on the podcast, like I said, by all means, you can always follow us on your favorite podcast catcher. Leave us a review. Tell us what you think. Like I said, it helps people to find us. We don't necessarily expect you to put in a glowing 5-star review unless you really enjoy it. But be honest with it. Just say what you think about us. And like I said, it helps other people find us and get us spread around a little bit so we can hopefully annoy other people's ear holes, right?
Spread the love.
Something like that. So, getting into our discussion topic, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's new in the game, but it doesn't always mean that the game is really all that easy to want to jump into. What really keeps people motivated to keep coming on to Final Fantasy XIV? So really, have you ever found yourself struggling to hit that play button on the launcher? Are you really more interested in playing other games or, heaven forbid, even going outside? Well, I mean, you're not alone if that's the case. Like I said, like I was saying earlier, that's what I've been going through the last couple of weeks. Many players suffer from burnout, and it's a known issue with games like this. And MMOs developers have been trying to come up with a way to really alleviate that by giving people more varied content, things that are a little easier to take in, that doesn't require a huge amount of grinding, but that also leads to people going through that content really fast. So people still end up losing that motivation to continue logging in daily. So, guys, I'm going to start with asking you guys, what are some of the things that you do to deal with when you have burnout, or what do you do to keep yourself from getting burnout?
I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm kind of jumping back and forth between several different games where it'll be, oh, hey, this is the one that I'm really into. I'm focusing on that, and I'm kind of just phoning it in on the others. And then it's kind of keeping up that intensity, but switching around the target from it. And then it becomes like, oh, hey, I'm focusing on this record keep. I've been doing a lot of Final Fantasy record keeper. It's on the back burner now. I'll just kind of put in minimal thing. At the same time, that's not really satisfying. It feels like you're still having the same thing and you're just changing the direction you point it in. So I don't know how well that works as a long-term thing.
Also, I want to actually invite people watching us live on Twitch. If you want to click on the Discord link below the stream, if you want to chime in, by all means, click on that. It'll bring you into our lobby, and then just say what you want to talk about in the lobby chat, and we'll bring you into the game. So you can talk about what you want to talk about here with us live on the show. So by all means, if you're interested, go ahead and click on that Discord link. Continuing on, Luna, what about you? I know you are a very busy mother.
I am. You are right about that. But I still log into the game and I still enjoy it immensely. And
you've come up with something new
people that
to kind of keep yourself entertained in this game.
Yep. Well, other than running off and starting my own FC and Link Shell, it's basically role playing has saved the game for me.
Do tell.
Entirely saved the game. basically I get to make up my own damn stories in this whole entire world and then play them out with people that want to play them out with me. Like, just the other day, I role played that I was possessed by a void scent and that we had to freaking get it the fuck out of me. And in doing so, it destroyed my body, which caused me to Fantasia into Makote. And then we came back from that because I miss being tall, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, like, that was super entertaining for me. I get to make up my own side quest, basically, in the whole entire story. And that's been saving the game for me, honestly. And luckily, I've been damn lucky to find people that are into, like, role-playing as much as I am and want to do these things with me. So role-playing has honestly saved the game for me.
Have you found a lot of people on Hyperion that are interested in roleplay?
Yes. Let's see. How many people are in my link shell right now? I have 99 people in my link shell, my role-playing link shell.
Wow. How many in the free company?
In my free company, well, people bring their alts in, so there's probably about 12 of us, but every one of those people I have met through the link shell, through just interacting and saying, hey, I'm going to start gathering people to role play on this server. If you want to join, just speak up.
I feel like the fact that Final Fantasy XIV has a lot of like the really good lore setting type stuff actually really helps that you've got a lot to draw from.
Exactly. And it just, you can work with it so many ways. There's different branches that you can branch off of the main storyline quest. Like, a big thing that falls into my role plays is the aether and the aether currents through different people's bodies and how it can affect people and moods and their beings, pretty much. And I play off that a lot in my role plays. So for me, I basically have endless stories, endless adventures to go on in this world.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Sayo?
I mean, for me, I just when I feel like playing, I play, and when I don't feel like playing, I don't play. For me, it's just been doing some of the Moogle quests lately. Other than that, I haven't really been playing 14 too much. I'm just kind of biding my time, waiting for the next raid tier to roll out and see what that kind of brings. I will say one of my problems with the recent stuff is that I really don't like the fact that in Heaven's Word there's only two dungeons per expert cycle. For some reason, that third dungeon seems to help level out like what I feel like I'm getting in roulettes a lot.
Yeah, I can understand that.
For me, I haven't even really been interested in capping lore for a while, just because my black mage is pretty much done. And I haven't really been playing too much else. But I mean, that's not really to say that I've lost interest in the game. It's just I'm kind of taking a break just so it doesn't get stale.
Oh, I hear you there. Like I said, for me, like I said, I haven't streamed since episode 23. Plain and simple. I'm actually taking a break from raiding. I hit 240 on my bard, and I realized that, you know what? It doesn't hold the same. It's not as important to me anymore to continue to progress, especially when I have other real life things that are taking precedence. I've got a pretty busy job. I'm not gonna lie, Pokemon Go has been taking up some time, but in a good way, because it's getting me out, walking, hanging out with new people that I haven't, talked with before, or catching up with old friends that are playing it. It's just things like that are taking a little bit more of my time, and I just feel like, do I really want to log into the game today? And if I answer no, I don't. And that's odd for me, because up until that point, I was basically on every day for 3-4 hours because I could always find something to do. But I don't feel the need to cap tomes. I haven't capped tomes in 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually. Like I said, don't need to worry about jumping in for raid anymore. Yeah, I'm sure once the new tier comes out, I might try and find another group to jump in with, but we'll see. But
That's kind of interesting. Like, oftentimes the attitude I've heard from people, it kind of feels like, hey, if you're not doing this like full whole hog, you have to either love it 100% or you have to quit it. And it's like the idea that if you start dialing it back, then that's just a prelude to quitting. I see that assumption a lot, it feels like.
well, I guess the way I see it, if not everybody has the exact same attitude or mindset when it comes to certain pieces of content in this game, especially when you're talking endgame rating. There are different tiers of raiders. There are the bleeding edge progression raiders that are world firsting, like the Elysiums and those groups, but those groups are getting more few and far between in comparison to what they were back in the 2.0 series of raids. But then you've got your slow progression, the ones that kind of work at their own pace, but still, want to try and do it as fast as they can. They don't have 2 to 3 weeks of time to do it straight. They'll put in 4 to 5 days a week, 3 to 4 hours a night. And they'll do a little bit of a research outside of it. And then you've got the people who are just, doing it to have some fun and so on and so on down the line, to the pugs who are just doing it for fun kind of stuff. So, which the raid finder that they put in the last patch, I think is going to help that last group a little bit, because they're going to be able to find more people that aren't necessarily on your server but are in your data center to join up with and maybe find a like-minded group to maybe get those get practice on certain phases, or even get some clears on some of the early floors.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't jumped in it myself yet, but like I said, because I'm taking a break, I did have somebody ask if I wanted to help them with their A7 group tonight, and I was like, I think I'm gonna pass. But
yeah, it does seem like there's a little bit more of a, hey, we're going to give you ways to try to play it your way.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to accommodate the largest amount of players, which I think is why we get so much mid to low difficulty content. We don't really see anything that's mid to high level content at this point. We got some people in the chat saying that the Raid Finder was a flop. Do you want to kind of let us know why you think it was that way? Because like I said, I haven't personally used it. I don't know if anybody in here has used it yet. But like I said, if you want to tell us in Discord, or you can just tell us in the chat so we can kind of understand where you're coming with that. But moving on, I would like to see a little bit more difficult content, and I'm hoping that with this Palace of the Dead, the deep dungeon style roguelikes that we're getting now, I'm hoping that some of the next floors are going to increase in difficulty so it can kind of appease some of those players who want content that's going to be a little bit more difficult, but maybe not necessarily that you're going to be bashing your head against it for 6 months.
Yeah, they did say that floors, I think it was like 101 to 200 would actually be...
or at least 150 to 200.
Yeah, would be very difficult, and I think toward the end that they would actually probably be bleeding edge.
Yeah, we'll have to see what comes of that. All I know is that doing some of it solo right now even is a challenge. Have any of you guys, other than myself, tried it solo?
I got almost to floor 30. I had a very unlucky floor 27, but it was definitely slow going there. I was trying to keep on target for 6 minutes a floor, and I was really struggling to keep up with that.
Yeah,
it made it kind of a fun challenge.
Yeah,
I've done it on Black Mage to floor 20, but then I got cleaved by that boss, and things didn't go so well.
Yeah, I haven't actually touched it since the day it was released. I did get to floor 20. I do plan on pushing that particular save a little bit further to see how far I can take it on my Bard. Like I said, I'm using the character that I'm a little bit more familiar with, but it's also going to be a bit of a challenge because Bard doesn't have much for self heals other than the one. So
yeah, honestly, I've barely touched it since the day it came out. I really am not that interested in it. I get it; it's a good way to learn different jobs and write that, but I've already dipped my feet in a lot of them, and the ones that I have been interested in, I've already gotten up to a high enough level that I really don't need to dip my feet in them anymore. And
but we are going to try and run it as a group. And we will stream it here on twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio. So if you guys want to see that, and when we go live on that, make sure you hit that follow button. Hint, hint,
Place
wink,
bets
wink.
on which one of us is going to screw up the worst.
It's gonna be Klaus.
Yeah, it'll probably be Klaus.
Actually, I thought I was the healer.
Are you going to be healing it? I don't know.
I don't know. There was talk that I was going to bring my scholar in.
I can't remember what we finally decided.
I have to level my casters now.
But anyways, the point that I'm trying to get at is
yeah.
I'm mainly there for the story because
I do want to experience it because I've heard that the story's interesting. And Chili in the chat is bringing up a good point that it is easier than Nidhogg at this point for a lot of people to get their I-235 weapon.
Oh yeah, it's a ton easier.
Chili's also saying you should be a black mage.
He's calling me out, so I should bring my thaumaturge in there so it can get swift cast.
About freaking time.
Yeah.
Chili, fuck you.
Chili?
What? It's just up to like level 28, isn't it?
34?
No,
or is it only
26.
20? Okay, see, I thought it was further than that. 34 was for Blood for Blood, wasn't it?
Chili, I just want to point out, when Klaus says fuck you, he's not saying you're wrong.
You have to give him a time and a date.
Chili knows we love him, so we'll figure out a time. We'll announce it when we can figure out when we can all get our schedules together to do it. That's the type of thing that would, hopefully keep people from getting burned out, is being able to do content like this with, friends that you enjoy. But we're spread across the country here. And, we're on totally different time zones. Seo is East Coast and Sarah's West Coast. So, that's a 3-hour difference for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have jobs and lives and stuff and things. So I'm not even going to comment on that, Chili. But anyway, saying I'm just flirting with him.
I'm going to ship this.
Yeah, right. I think Klaus will look cute with a little Lalafell in his arms.
Aww.
I'm just...
Right?
So, which of you is going to write the fanfic? That's what I'm waiting to hear.
Let's do it, Sarah. We can ghost write it together.
I approve of this.
But, like I said, does anybody else want to kind of chime in on burnout and what it kind of feels like for them and how they kind of get through it? Anything else to add?
Or how you don't get through it. Like, if you're starting to really struggling with it, not everyone gets through their burnout and comes back. Well, sometimes people take a break. Sometimes they take a long break. That's why they have that Return to Eorzea campaign.
Yeah, I can, comment, on 11. I would take, months long breaks, like 3-4 months, because while I loved 11, it was a lot of fun, but the grind was real. You would spend hours upon hours just waiting for a party before you could even get in to do content. And you would spend hours upon hours fighting through to get to where you're going for, and then you would wait hours upon hours for a mob to pop, for to hopefully get a drop generally. And it was a very huge undertaking.
Or sometimes one of the party members would invite you to an XP party without telling the leader that they'd done that, but the leader was talking with their link shell and they'd gotten someone. So you get there and it's like, oh, nope, sorry, party's full. And the person wouldn't even have the good grace to tell you that they'd screwed up. You'd have to wait for the leader to do that. And then back out from the Boyata tree, back to Juno for another 2 freaking... Not that I, have any specific memories of this.
But yeah, for me, then...
Doesn't sound like anything specific there.
No, not at all. But
it's just ridiculous.
Continuing on with my story, I came back from a 4-month break to find that my server, Midgard Sormer, was gone. And I was now on Quetzalcoatl.
Oh, right, the server merges.
And every single one of my link pearls was broken. So I did not have access to my sky shell, my sea shell, any of my XP groups that I would work with, my Dynamis shells, all gone.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst. Like, one of the things that does seem to help keep you connected is the people you connect with, and if you get severed from all of those at once.
Yep. So that was it. I shouted in what's the town in Ottergon called?
Ottergan? Ottergan Whitegate?
Yeah, I basically shouted in those areas to who wants free stuff. And I gave my stuff away on my Red Mage. All my gil, all my tradable gear. Yeah. And I left. Because basically at that point was when 1.0 was coming out. And I left 11 for 14.
Yeah.
And then I didn't play 14 because reasons. We all know about those reasons, right, people?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
I guess I wish I had kept up with what was going on with it. Like, and I've talked about this in the past, but we don't need to go on with it.
Thinking about it, it's interesting. Like, a fair number of the friends that I made in 11 and 14, I stayed connected to outside of the game, and that also helped when there were shifts like that to be like, hey, this is going on. We're moving to this server, or this is happening, just to make sure. And if one of them were to come back, they could be like, hey, who's the thing for this one? And I would be able to tell them. Just like building that connection, not just in the game, but sometimes building it into friendships outside the game, that makes that bond so much stronger.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, otherwise, yeah, that's just a really huge blow to it.
Well, that wasn't really a thing in the early days of 11, was it? You didn't really tend to bleed over from the fourth wall, did you?
Some, but like it would often be the thing where it was looked on as a little bit weird. Yeah.
It took a very long time to kind of really mesh with the community in the real world, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, to find actual players to actually build relationships with, it took a long time. And like I said, once that's gone, it's really hard to want to rebuild that. Because that's a lot of work, a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else about any other stories they want to share? I know Andrew was trying to get into Discord. We're waiting for him to pop in if he wanted to talk with us. Like I said, if you want to chime in on it, you can click on the link below the stream or go to phoenixdownradio.com/Discord. It'll bring you right to the lobby, a link to the lobby as well. Luna, you played WoW a bit. Did you ever experience burnout from WoW? Or any other MMOs you played?
My WoW career was weird. Like, I played for a year and then I kind of took a break. I don't remember why I took that break. But then I started playing up again. And honestly, I believe it was because of the people I was playing with that I wanted to go out and play World of Warcraft. The game itself never really gave me burnout. It was just that there was lack of people not to play with.
Were they busy doing raiding or?
No, they weren't really raiders. They were more casual players like myself. But I think real life just got
so you weren't
busy
actually
for them,
seeing them. They weren't signing on.
Well, they weren't signing on, and then it just got a little boring for me. I had no one to hang out with, so then I kind of just dropped it. When I played Guild Wars for a long time, pretty much the same thing. I mean, a game is as fun, like for me, a game is as fun as the people that I'm playing with. So if I surround myself with good people and that I have fun with, I'll never get bored of the game. Simple as that. But if there's no one around that I can play with, that I can BS with, like if I have no friends online, the game just gets old fast.
Yeah, because I mean, the game, for some people, it's not all about, beating the end boss. It's not all about raiding. It's not all about, content progression or gear progression. Some people do it for the people.
Mm-hmm. And I am one of those people.
I'd say for me, it's a mix of a little bit of everything. I mean, I love, the game the way it is. But sometimes when there's when there's nobody around, I'm not going to go into Duty Finder and do roulettes to cap lore for jobs that I don't play. That doesn't really make sense, does it?
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, when there's new content that I want to do, or there's something that, you know, I just feel interested in, hey, that's great. Otherwise, I'm just going to go over there and play Hearthstone or something.
Yeah, I have trouble convincing myself to go and do roulettes if there's not anyone to go. Even though I know it's supposed to be something where they want it to be drop in to go without other people. Like, that was the first thing people were demanding. It's like, yes, you can do this, but we still want to go with our friends.
Because it is a lot more fun when you can go with people you know. You can you kind of know what they're going to do. You are familiar with what their play style is, and it's going to make the run go that much smoother. Granted, yes, we have these things in front of us called keyboards that we can use to communicate back and forth with one another. However, not everybody uses them.
And it's not just that. Like, if I'm having a bad day and it's like, hey guys, can we just go a little more intense, a little less intense on this? I know they're going to get it. Or if I want to go ahead and goof off a little bit, I know that they're going to be a bit more likely to find it funny instead of it being a group with lots of people who are like, I don't care about this person. I just want to get this done.
Yeah, you get a lot of that where people are pushing as hard. They're doing massive pulls, and if you're not keeping up, they yell at you or they, kick you.
Which,
and,
I mean,
that creates a negative opinion.
Or it could go the complete opposite direction.
Yeah, where you get the undergeared and brand new person who wants to run it their way, doesn't want to listen to any comments or feedback.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
oh god,
yells when you try and help.
Those are frustrating too, but I mean, like, even if it's hey, this is a person who likes big pulls but would be nice about it, it's like...
And they cannot lie?
Can I tell you guys about something that happened to me the other day?
I just might not want to, like, have that discussion. I must want to be like, you like your thing, and that's fine, and shine on you crazy diamond, but I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, when you run with your friends, that definitely helps with that. Go ahead, Luna. What were you going to say?
Yeah, what happened?
Okay, so the other day I did a main scenario quest just for the hell of it. I brought some of my FC and my Link Shell members with, and we were running it just fine. Everything was fine. One of my FC members was tanking, and oh god, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Prey. Not the one where you fight Ultima at the end, the other one.
That would be Castrum?
Castrum.
Yeah, Castrum. We were running Castrum. And we were like, okay, we're going to do big pulls. Hope you guys don't mind. And these people, I looked on the list. They were all level 60s. There was no one new. We were running through it. And I don't know where the fuck it went wrong, but after you zone into the second area before
Down the trash chute.
Yeah, after you get off there, we started pulling and we were doing the big pull to where we pull everything to the end right in front of where
you blow up the stuff?
The pipes.
Okay.
Yeah, where you have to break the pipes. We were doing a big pull like that. Done it a million times. No problem. Healed it perfectly fine. I was on Black Mage. I was doing my boomy booms just fine. And then all of a sudden, people started dying. And they kept dying. And they'd respawn, run back, die again. And it was just a cycle and a cycle and a cycle.
Oh, where it's like just let stuff die and let it wipe and let it reset and we'll do it again cleanly.
Yeah, pretty much. And I had this one guy who was not in my party, my original party. His name was like Waffle, but for comedic purposes, and for that you guys can relate with, I'm going to call him Twat Waffle.
Okay.
So Twat Waffle has the nerve to say, LOL, if the tank wasn't so bad, then maybe we wouldn't die. Well, this guy was on healer, and why wasn't he healing the tank? First off, fuck him. And we started fighting the fuck out of each other. And then the guy who's my friend, ends up leaving. They start talking shit about him after he leaves, because me and the other LS member were still there. And he was like, yeah, that tank was shit talking my friends, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? You can just shut the fuck up. I asked you just to be quiet and just play the game earlier before any of this shit happened because you were talking shit before then. And you can't do that because apparently you can't comprehend what common decency is. And so then him and I start going at it. I'm like, you know what? Fine. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're a needle dick. Smoke a cock. I don't care. And we kept running. And guess what happened? We fucking waped again. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a cool story. You know what? You guys go all blow yourselves. I'm out. And me and my LS member just left. I don't remember what the point of the story was, but I feel better telling you guys that.
Sometimes you just need to vent. So
Yeah.
It's all about venting sometimes.
Twat Waffle can go smoke a cock for all I care.
make him build his own wall. Make him pay for it.
If this is going with friends, when you have that initial wipe, you don't have people feeling defensive about it, feeling embarrassed about it, feeling like they need to like make sure it clear that it wasn't their fault. Like you don't have as much of that huge nasty downward spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, if you wipe in a duty finder, everybody's gonna go on tilt.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Depends.
That's exactly what happened.
It depends, but yes, I would say probably more than half the time.
It is a lot easier for it to happen. Like I specifically work to, if it starts wiping, usually when I'm on the tanks, I'll be like, it's like, hey, no worries. Looks like we got a little overwhelmed. Let's try it. Like I go out of my way to try to be the cheerleader there. And so many people are like, that's not what usually happens. Everyone gets mad. And it's like,
oh God. And then this fucking guy.
I can see why it's so much more attractive to go with your friends, to not have to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And this fucking guy, he uses the excuse, oh, I'm doing more DPS than you. I'm like, dude, I'm learning Black Mage. Get that? And he was a fucking mentor too, is the fucking kicker of this whole entire fucking thing. I'm like, you have that mentor status on to help people, not to be a fucking douchebag. That doesn't give you the right to be a fucking douche to people who are learning the game. He's like, well, I do. I'm like, yeah, sure. Cool story, bro. Needs more dragons. Fuck off. I feel better.
Tell us how you really feel, though, Luna.
Fuck Twat Waffle.
Vote kick Twat Waffle 2016.
Exactly.
You probably could have got him on harassment, but who knows?
I probably could have.
Yeah,
but
you could have.
Plus,
you might have gotten a fun GM to talk with about it too.
Yeah, I'm sure I probably could have.
You could have both done hashtag vote kick Twat Waffle 2016.
I searched him afterwards, and he's not on Hyperion. So.
Well, that's good.
Fuck that guy.
I was hoping it wasn't another person that I know with the surname of Waffle, because they're actually a pretty cool guy.
No.
The part that's frustrating.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Brown Waffle?
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's a cool guy. It wasn't Brown Waffle.
I was worried for a second.
The bit that's a little frustrating there is this could also be just a normally decent guy who is just having a bad day, and then just the dynamics of it mean that one snippy little comment that someone makes becomes a thing, and it becomes more of a thing, and it all feeds on itself in this really nasty way.
Yeah, it doesn't make it right though. We've all been there. We've all been there. It
doesn't make it right for anyone.
But I said,
it's not really about who's right. It's just about, hey, that happens enough times where you've got people who just are having a bad day and who feel a little defensive about it and feeding off of each other. And it's really easy to start feeling like, ugh, why am I even doing this?
Well, come on now, guys. Let's make Eorzea great again.
I know that's a defense, Sarah, but honestly, okay.
It's not a defense. It's more about this is the type of thing that makes people start feeling like, hey, I'd rather just run stuff with people I know.
I know, but the thing is, we didn't start it. He was the one that chimed in first, saying, "Oh, you guys are bad."
Yeah, I know.
So fuck that guy. Fuck Twat Waffle 2016.
Is that going to be our title? Fuck Twat Waffle. I don't think that would fly in iTunes. So
no, I don't think so either.
Any other stories we want to share about things that have turned them off on the game or ways that they have kept from getting burnout. I thought this was a pretty good discussion, something we came up with on a really short notice. So I hope that everybody else enjoyed the discussion we had here. And if you guys want to share stories with us about your burnout experiences or ways that you have avoided burnout, you can always email us, podcast@phoenixdownradio.com. It's with an exclamation point now, Luna.
You changed it back?
Yes, because that's the way that Ankbot works.
You butthead.
You can always tweet at us at PHXDNRadio on Twitter. Or you can leave comments on our webpage, www.phoenixdownradio.com. We appreciate all the love that we would get from you guys. So, try to avoid the name and shame tweets. But you can name and shame the twat waffles, but don't publicly name and shame them.
Yeah.
If people tell us names and stuff, we will redact them because it's the right thing to do.
Especially for the person who is the next day is like, oh God, I feel really terrible about that, and then goes and sees just how unforgiving the internet can be. The internet can be pretty unforgiving. Yeah.
So, we realize that people, all have bad days. I mean, I'm sure I've had days. Actually, I know I've had days when I've gone off and been the twat waffle. But you know what? It happens, and we'll deal with it. So
you get through it.
You do. And you come, you log off for a while, you come back a day or so later, you shake it all off, and you start fresh again.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm a perfect little angel 24/7.
Uh-huh.
Bullshit.
24.
I mean, I have
7.
I have no problem going off on people, but I have to have a pretty good reason.
Yeah, some people are pretty chill, but yeah, you would take a lot to go off on people, Sayo. I know that.
It just tends to not end well. It very rarely changes anyone's mind.
All right. So like I said, if you enjoyed that, or if you have ideas on what you want to hear in the future on discussion topics, email us. Like I said, we do also have our Discord available. If we get somebody who does want to go back and discuss it, we will revisit that if we need to. But we are going to move on. We are taking, because of the change in the show format for the day, because we were supposed to have guests on that were supposed to take up the entirety of the show, we did not have a prepared lore segment. So those of you who are here for the lore, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
I still love you guys.
Sarah will be coming back with a lore segment the next show that we don't have guests. Because like I said, we don't know exactly when we're going to be rescheduling Aya and Shannon. But on the next show, on the show that they're not on, I'm sure he'll come back with a wonderful, awesome topic that you guys will be just enamored to listen to. So instead, he decided he was going to use. How did you explain that earlier, Sarah? We had a nice little discussion in the pre-show. You were talking about all the studies.
Visiting professor in Axe Studies. Visiting is important because it means there's no way I'm getting tenure here. Though I wasn't anyways. The politics in this department are ridiculous.
Hey, come on, give us a break.
Oh my god.
You're already the master librarian here. We can't afford to pay you anymore.
He gets paid. He gets paid.
Well, we can't afford to pay you anymore.
Hey, I'm only black mid faculty. Don't look at me.
I don't think you could pay me any less.
I've heard there's free food in the lounge. I don't know where the lounge is yet.
Yes, we must find seminars with free food. Maybe we can listen to the speaker, but the important thing is the food.
Free food.
Is this the right lounge?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either. There's free food, though.
Why does it say champagne room above the door?
Do not eat that.
Anyway, Sarah is going to do a How Do I segment this week, and his topic of choice is...
how to Marauder and Warrior. How to do fun stuff with a big giant axe.
Or how to break rocks.
It's an important part of the training. I like that quest line. So, For those of you who've been thinking about trying out tanking, definitely something that I know a lot of people are intimidated by. They're always a little bit scared about the whole, like, oh, the weight of everything is on me. It's really not that hard. I'll be talking a little bit about tanking and a little bit about warrior in particular. So as a tank, you've got two major roles that you're going to be balancing. You want to keep the attention of the monsters, and you do that by dealing damage and using other abilities that generate enmity. You're not necessarily dealing as much damage as other classes would, but the damage you deal has increased to the amount of enmity it draws, and so that's going to be used to keep the attention of the monsters.
That is until you actually put on your warrior stone, and then you're doing godlike DPS.
It depends. We'll definitely get to that, but warrior is one of the most DPS capable of the tanks,
As well as probably in my opinion, the easiest.
It definitely, especially when you're early on, when you're starting to learn, it has some features that give it a lot more wiggle room, let you get a lot more comfortable with the concept of tanking. Because your other job, in addition to keeping the attention of the monsters, is to not die to the monsters.
Yes.
And you do this by using abilities that will reduce the damage you take and that hamper the ability of the monsters to deal damage. You also do this by keeping the healers safe so they can actually be bombarding you with all those cure spells without having to worry about getting their faces eaten.
But my healer deeps.
If you're doing things right, the healers will also be able to deeps a bit. It'll be great. Now, all tanks do the combination of keeping the attention of the monsters and not dying to the monsters. Warrior accomplishes it with high hit points and very strong attack power. As we were saying, they are one of the most effective DPSs. If you're in a two-tank situation, the warrior will act as a secondary tank, so they can also spend a bit of time effectively being a fifth DPS. They don't have as many options as the other tanks when it comes to mitigating damage. A lot of their abilities revolve around healing themselves, so they do have to take the hits in the first place and then recover from them. Having the high hit points will help them survive those hits, but it can be a little bit more precarious compared to other types of tanks. So your abilities are relatively simple. You're going to have a hate combination, a sequence of events, starting with Heavy Swing to Skull Sunder, which is one of the earliest ones that you learn, and eventually to Butcher's Block. And that's just a batch of strong moves with a major increase in how much enmity you get. Pretty simple. You cycle through these 1, 2, 3, you build up that hate. You've got a secondary combination where instead of going into the hate gaining moves, you use the move Maim, which will give you a status that increases your damage dealt. It gives it a 20% boost, I believe, which is pretty sizable. You can then continue to a second ability that will give you some hit points and also make the monster do less damage, or to one that will make the monster take more damage from slashing weapons. So either you're going to hamper its ability to hurt you, or you're going to make it so you can hurt it a bit more. So pretty much you've got your hate building, and then you've got a little bit of this management of keeping up your damage and making a couple effects on the monster. Later on, you're going to get your two stances, Defiance at level 30 and Deliverance at level 52, I believe it was.
That sounds right.
With those, you enter into a stance that gives you a boost to your tanking or DPS stats, respectively. Your first one will be a tanking stance. Your second will be a DPS stance. While in those stances, most of your abilities will give you stacks of either Wrath or Abandon. Those stacks will give further boost to the appropriate stats. And once you are at a full 5 stacks, you are able to expend all of those stacks to use a special ability. And those will do things like give a strong hit that you drain completely its hit points, do an area of effect attack that has increased enmity, do a very, for the DPS stance, it will be very powerful single target or AoE attacks.
Fellcleave!
Fellcleave is pretty good times.
Yeah, if you're doing anything but Fellcleave, you're doing it wrong.
One of the tricks with that is, of course, since it does take time to build up those stacks, you may not necessarily want to use them as soon as they become available. For instance, Warrior's Inner Beast gives you a small refill on your hit points, and greatly reduces your damage taken for a short period. Very short period, 5 or 6 seconds. So ideally, you want to have that ready to go and use while the enemy is charging up some very powerful move. But if you are using your stacks as soon as they're fully charged, you may not have them ready in time. It's definitely a question of when is a good time to use it to get those powerful attacks versus when do you want to hold them in reserve for some later later move coming up. You get a number of other abilities, mitigation abilities that will increase your defense, reduce your damage taken, increase. Oh, pardon me. DPS boosting abilities such as the ever famous Berserk. 50% attack power boost, I believe, though it does leave you with a short period of being unable to use weapon skills afterwards. Berserk is actually one of the few abilities for which I would say it is worth making a party macro to alert the healer that, hey, it's going to be dropping off shortly so they can remove that pacification status. You don't necessarily need to be spamming it every second, but just that little warning that it's coming up can leave them in a very good position to react, take that status off, and keep your damage flowing. Your cross-class skills are going to be from Pugilist and Gladiator. The most important one would be the Gladiator ability Provoke. I want to take a moment to explain how Provoke works because it's very important for all tanks, and it's also, I think, one of the most misunderstood abilities. A lot of people remember it from Final Fantasy XI, where in that game, Provoke would provide... Yeah, in that one, Provoke provides an instant spike in your enmity, in the amount of hate you have. It would be a consistent, you have this increase. So starting off a fight with Provoke, you have this really huge spike. You have hate secured for a while. Final Fantasy XIV's Provoke is very different. The tooltip doesn't explain it terribly well. You target an enemy with it. You use Provoke. It looks at the amount of hate that every member of the party has on that enemy. Whoever has the most, you are put one sliver of a hair above their amount of enmity. So even if you were at 0 and someone else was at the maximum possible, you will jump up to just above their level and you will now be the person who has hate. If you were the person who had the most, it's not going to make any change because you are already at the most. This means if you use it at the beginning of a fight where everyone has pretty much no enmity, you're not getting anything from it.
You basically just wasted it.
Yep. Provoke is incredibly valuable for tank swap mechanics. In fights where you have 2 tanks, they often have a mechanic so that you don't have one tank being the tank for the entire fight to force them to trade off. And so Provoke is very useful for, say, I'm the warrior DPSing, the paladin is tanking, they're doing a great job, the tank swap mechanic comes up, I use Provoke, I now am at the top of the hate list. I land a couple very strong hate gaining abilities, and now I am the one who is tanking. So for tank swaps, Provoke is golden.
Yeah, the one thing you want to remember with that though is you want to continue to do hate creation or enmity creating moves and make sure that the previous tank is holding off on that because they can very easily overtake that because you only go up by 1.
Yeah. Given that that tanks often don't have to deal with a lot of other mechanics, properly executing a tank swap is one of the things that can add a little bit of challenge and a little bit of something for the tank to do in fights that would otherwise be relatively dull for us. You'll have other good cross-class abilities, internal release for that increased crit rate, because again, we thrive a lot on being able to have that brutal attack power, being able to do lots of damage to keep attention on us. So increasing that crit rate is a big one. Convalescence is another one from Gladiator that massively increases 20% increase to the amount of healing we receive from magic. Given that we have those huge hit point totals and often have large amounts to be healed, making it a little bit easier for the healers to top us off goes a long way towards helping them manage their MP. And awareness is another big one. nullifying all critical hits for a period, it does help prevent a lot of those spikes from a very nasty critical hit. That is, again, going to give the healers a lot that they have to catch up with. So your general best practices as a tank, or as anyone working with a tank, a lot of positioning is really important. If you are someone who's played a lot of other DPS jobs, you've played as a monk, a dragoon, you know how important it is to be able to have that backside or that side, the back or the side, consistently placed, to not have the area you were about to aim and attack at suddenly shift and become the monster's front. So as a tank, when I am dodging out of the way of a monster's attack, I see that big glowing thing, I step out of the way. As soon as it vanishes, as soon as the monster is going through its animation and it's safe to return, I will attempt to step right back into the place I initially was. If you execute this properly, you're going to minimize the movement of the monster, you're going to keep it from turning, and that's going to allow your DPS to keep up their combinations, to keep dealing that really heavy damage. Another big one on positioning, when you're fighting enemies with ranged attacks, enemies attempt to keep line of sight to you. So pulling back to, say, around a corner where they can no longer see you, they will move up to that corner in order to be able to get eyes on you again. That will cause them all to clump up, group up, and that makes it an excellent time for your mages to light them up with area of effect attacks. So a lot of that battlefield awareness, being aware of where stuff is facing, how it's grouped together, noticing when multiple mobs are coming in, and you may need to pick them up before they start attacking healers. One big one I want to mention. Hang on, I'm looking at my own notes here. Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of times, getting when you have that whole issue of, hey, you're dodging, hey, you have to have attacks that you want to dodge. With a single monster, step out of the way of the attack, step back in, you can keep it from turning. When you're fighting multiple monsters, you may have an instance where one of them is charging up an attack, and so you want to step out of its way, but then the other one that isn't charging up an attack, it is going to turn to face you, it is going to move, it may mess up those combinations. Depending on the circumstances, depending on which one that your other players are focusing on, it may actually be worth it to instead activate a mitigation ability and eat that hit in order to keep from turning the other monsters so that they can keep up the DPS and kill it quickly. This is a little more common when you have multiple monsters because it's going to be much more frequent that those monsters are going to be lower hit points, and so it actually is feasible to burn a couple of them down quickly. Klaus did mention those tank swaps. General procedure on that, you have your provoke ability. That is one of the other ones that I do use a macro for, just so it is very clear to the other tank that I have used it. Making sure you want to make sure that you have turned the appropriate tank stance off or on. If you are the person who is, what I will often do is I will go ahead and do the first part of my hate combination, wait for a moment, activate provoke, and immediately follow it up with the second and third pieces. So as Klaus was saying, you follow that provoke, that thing where you're just barely at the top, with a good powerful hate grab, something to really secure that. If you're the person who is being switched off of, if you were tanking and are now going to not be, turn off your tank stance. Maybe even put your weapon away for a moment or two.
You don't want to do that, but
on a couple fights where it was running hard enough, just taking it off just for 1 or 2 attack rounds until it's secured.
Yeah, on non raid content, yeah, I would agree with that. But it's something you definitely don't want to do when you're running Savage content.
But if you're doing something where, say, it's a duty finder group and things are a little shaky, if they're having a little trouble executing it, you can take off your tank stance of like a couple moments before the swap happens. You can, as I said, turn away or put away your weapon just for one attack round. just to give it that chance to really swap over, and to make sure that isn't something where they've used provoke, they're trying to take it, and then you're dealing a very strong attack that takes it back. Maybe not stopping the attack entirely, but instead of completing your hate combo, just going back to the beginning of the combination. A couple considerations for warriors when compared to other tanks. You do have some abilities that are similar but not identical. All three of the tanks, Paladin, Warrior, and Dark Knight, do have a stun ability, but they do work in different ways. Paladin's is one that is a weapon skill, so it does interrupt weapon skill combinations, and it is on the global cooldown. Warrior has one that is off global cooldown, so it can be activated with pretty much at a moment's notice. It is about 20-second cooldown as compared to a slightly longer cooldown for Dark Knight, but Dark Knight has an ability to trait that allows their stun timer to reset a lot faster. So if it's something where the Dark Knight is tanking, they are going to be able to stun much more often. If you are stunning as the off tank, it's something where the Warrior is going to be able to do it a little bit more. This is not necessarily a super huge consideration most of the time, but if you're used to tanking as one, then the other is going to can be something that throws you off a bit. I know whenever I switch to Paladin, I'm always feeling like I can never stun when I want to. They handle multiple monsters in different ways. As a Warrior, we don't really use our MP as much as Paladins and Dark Knights do. They have a lot of abilities that are fueled by those. Both of them, both Paladin and Dark Knight, have an AoE hate grabbing ability that uses MP. For Warriors, it's either Steel Cyclone, which requires you to charge up those Wrath stacks, or it's Overpower, which does pretty decent damage. Overpowering down a group of enemies and watching their hit points drop can be pretty nice.
But it can really burn your TP.
Oh yeah, 120 TP a hit, and it is very easy to spam it without even noticing just how far down it's gone.
Yep.
And again, given just how dependent we are on our TP, is going to be... that is something where you can very easily find yourself in a crippled state waiting for it to regen.
Oh yeah.
Later on, you do get a few options. There is a ability that can restore hit points or TP depending on which stance you're in, but you do need to be in the DPS stance to get the TP restoring effect. There have been a few fights where I did, for a short period, switch to DPS stance just to use the TP restore, and then try to survive long enough to switch back to tank stance. One important thing to note that reminded me of when you switch between those stances, those Wrath or Abandon stacks that you're building up, they do convert to the other type. So it is feasible to, for instance, when you're doing that tank swap, if you had been doing Abandon, the DPS stacks, you switch into the tanking stance, those will convert to Wrath stacks.
Which they did right. I really appreciate that they made that happen so you're not having to rebuild them from scratch.
Yeah, it is already enough of a challenge to make sure that you're maintaining, managing them properly, maintaining them for the right moment.
Yeah.
So you do have a little bit more latitude to swap between those stances.
No, there's a little bit of a recast time for stancing, so you can't just automatically go back and forth within a GCD. It's 15, 20 seconds, I think? Or is it 30?
I think it's actually 10 seconds.
Okay, well, that's not bad. But, I mean, it's still a few attacks. So, I mean, you can't expect to switch right away. But
Paladin does have the much faster ability to switch, but they also expend a pretty decent amount of MP.
That's a huge amount of MP to switch between sword and shield. And I'm not sure what it is with Dark Knight to swap back and forth. Is it MP as well? Or is it just a stance as well?
So they do not quite have the same type of thing. They don't quite have a DPS stance. They just either activate or deactivate Grit. And with that one, activating Grit costs MP. Not as much, but given how many of their other abilities are constantly consuming MP, they do not necessarily have as much to spare.
Okay, that's true. That's one I haven't delved into. I mean, I've got my Paladin has been pretty high level for a while. And Warrior is one of my other 60 classes.
Yeah,
so.
I've played all three, and I definitely feel Warrior is the one that is most comfortable with being able to switch back and forth. That may be one of the things that does help make it a bit more of an effective DPS, along with things like that really insane attack power increase, or having a lot of those specialty abilities that do focus on doing damage. Yeah. It's definitely the one that, if you are more comfortable as a DPS, I think Warrior is probably going to be the easiest one to start with because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's familiar with it, and especially at earlier levels, that higher hit point total is a little more forgiving as you're learning a lot of those mechanics.
Yeah, I also want to say, in regards to Warrior, I find it's also probably the easiest solo tank class to run because you're doing a lot more damage as a Warrior than you are as a Paladin. Like I said, I don't have much to speak off of when it comes to Dark Knight, but when I leveled up Warrior versus when I leveled up Paladin, things seemed to die faster when I was going through content or fate grinding or whatever. It just seemed to move a little bit faster as a Warrior. So in my personal opinion, I think that Warrior is a little bit easier to for people who want to kind of just push through at their own pace, yet want to kind of move along.
Also, when you're the self-restoring options like Inner Beast or Bloodbath or others like that Warrior has, although they're relatively small when you're facing off against dungeon or raid tier bosses, when you're fighting against the type of thing that you would be fighting solo, the healing that you get from those is actually a pretty decent one. So it's fairly forgiving in its ability to sustain.
Yeah, it's vital, especially if you're doing a lot of solo content and you don't have a healer out or have a healer chocobo available. So
if I'm going to be doing stuff solo, I pretty much always end up going for Warrior for that, just because, as you said, the higher DPS and also a little bit more of the ability to sustain your stuff in a way that's relatively easy and doesn't take as much thought.
Well, thank you very much for putting all that together, Sarah, on short notice. I thought it was very interesting and very comprehensive. I hope that all of our listeners, both live and on the podcast, get enjoyment out of that, and hopefully it helps them when trying to pick if they want to be a tank class and what they would do.
Yeah. Give it a go. It's something that, again, I think a lot of people are a little bit scared of. There's a lot of nervousness around it, but it's actually kind of fun and exhilarating. I think it's a really good practice for sharpening a lot of your battlefield awareness. And definitely I found it's something where you do get to enjoy that very fast tank queue, but you also do get to be something where, in a lot of ways, I set a lot of the pace of the group. I set a lot of the tone and expectations. I can be the one who says, hey, you guys all look really well geared. Let's do fast pulls. Like, I have a lot of say in what kind of experience I'm going to have that day. And that's something that can be really nice.
Also, Felcleave!
Felcleave is oddly satisfying.
Triple Felcleave.
I push the button for it a little more forcefully, and I don't exactly know why. It's not like it makes it hit any harder.
And then he goes, ah.
Oh, Lord.
He has a lorgasm.
It is surprisingly satisfying.
Goes have a cigarette afterwards.
All
right, so what do you guys want to hear for the next How Do I segment? You know, we're always taking ideas. Make lore, not war. Oh.
I rather like that the Scholar Quests had you talking with that gentleman who was a marauder but an educated one. I was like, no, that's the kind of thing. I could do that. I will have my giant axe and I will wear glasses and I will read stuff. It will be great.
The lore warrior.
Conan
the Lorebrarian. Sarnan, it would be, I guess, huh? So we already have people asking for Summoner. I can see maybe you, Sarah and Luna working together on Scholar. How to Bard? Do you want my input on how to Bard? Really?
All right, people, get out your pens and papers and write down this exact sequence of moves.
That's not how that game works.
I've watched Klaus Bard before in person, and I could not tell you what he's doing.
I can't tell you what I'm doing.
Literally, I watch you do it, and you're just like mashing buttons, like. I'm like, what the hell? How do you get the DPS out of that?
A lot of once you've been playing a class for long enough, a lot of it just becomes like this practically unthinking muscle memory.
Yep.
There's a flash from this particular ability. That means I hit this. Don't think about it. Just do it.
You memorize what keys are what abilities, basically.
Oh, yeah, I get that too. I do that on my Scholar, but just watching you play Bard is
You mean when I'm spamming the keys? I'm trying to make sure I'm trying to get it queued up as fast as possible. That's all.
I know, it's still funny. It's still funny watching you just typing away.
If you think I'm bad, you should see most top tier endgame raiders. They're probably a lot worse.
Or ninjas or monks with
or dragoons.
7-second DCDs or something like
It
that.
is at a point where conscious thought is no longer fully entering into the equation.
No, you just spam, and when you see the move go off, you move to the next key and spam, and when you see that move go off, you go to the next key and spam, and this got changed, so you hit that other key, and...
But you're not even necessarily consciously thinking about it. Like, I have that happen sometimes when I'm playing Bard as well. So it's like, okay, the fingers know to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand why people get... this was something I remember at FanFest, when they would have the primal battles or the speedrun challenges, they would have time for people to set up their keybinds and to arrange their HUDs. And it's like, no, you need it arranged that way. You're not actually thinking that hard about what you're doing. You're just, the finger knows that it moves here next.
So,
side note, anyone who is going to be going to FanFest, use your phone, take a couple pictures of your most important keybinds or your controller arrangements or the like. Do you really think you can create it from memory? Or do you want to have that actual reminder that you can put in front of you so that you're not going to switch your sword and your shield out?
Yeah, too bad they won't let you copy over your Final Fantasy information over to it, you know.
It's too hard just on the basis that they don't use your characters. They use...
You use pre-created ones, yeah.
Yeah.
So you would have to know exactly what and where. So yeah, take that picture. That's probably the best way to do it. I mean, if they would allow you to copy your files from your game folder, that might.
There's probably some security risk with that, though.
Yes, there's a huge risk with that. But I'm just saying, would have been one option. But like I said, it's probably not going to be allowed. So take those pictures of your HUDs.
Klaus wants to hack you guys.
Really? I solved this by just being comfortable playing with the default setting. Does no one else do that?
No.
No, it's really not worth playing around FanFest when that happens ostensibly once every 2 years.
No, I mean, I've just never been bothered to actually rearrange this stuff that much.
Well, I mean, I probably won't rearrange the HUD, but I will put my abilities in the order I want them.
Mm-hmm.
There is that.
And hopefully, I don't, like I said, I still use the one through equals control and alt. So I mean, it's not like it's totally difficult to set those up, but we'll figure it out anyway. Anyway, that was kind of a little bit of a tangent, but like I said, let us know what you want to hear next for either lore or how do I or whatever. Send us that email. Let us know what you think. During the show, we actually did get an email from one of our listeners, Eternal Snowflake. I copied, I tweeted out what he sent us and then put the link to it. Sorry, my bad. I copied what she sent us and tweeted that out, and I copied the link into the Discord, the Twitch chat. So go ahead and check that out. I thought that was hilarious. Basically comparing the faces of Forgal with Yoshi P. And it's scarily similar. So yeah, check that out. I'll repost it here. I think I still have the link in my... Yep. Check that out if you want to. We'll link... if you don't follow us on Twitter, please do. We'd appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty good stuff. So thank you for sending that and giving us a little bit of a, email and user comments to talk about. So thanks a lot. Good show, guys. I thought that we came together pretty well to get that going on short notice. Hopefully you couldn't tell that we did all that last night.
I don't think they notice if you didn't say it.
Hey, it's just
now they know.
Saying how awesome you guys are, right?
Well, you do what you have to do, right?
Something like that.
But yeah, if you like what you hear, go ahead and we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio. If you feel that we're worth a couple of bucks to help us out, we would appreciate it. All the money that we get for that goes towards covering different costs that we have, as well as we would use anything extra we get to improve the quality of our podcasts. We do try and do the best podcast we can, and we hope you guys enjoy that. So, like I said, if you got a couple extra bucks to spare, go ahead and check out our Patreon out there, and if you like it, go ahead and become a patron of ours. We'd appreciate that. Anybody have any shout outs that they want to throw out?
Shout out to podcasts from npr.org and Maximum Fun for keeping me marginally sane while I farmed 222 legendary yokai medals. Seriously, I listened to about 8 hours worth of podcasts.
So so they could totally get that done in the 14-hour live stream.
Oh, in theory. I hope they keep it depends on how many other people are going there, and if they do keep the order somewhat efficient.
They can listen to 4 episodes of Phoenix Down Radio during that time.
Ooh.
Hey, we're getting better.
Yeah, we're right around the 2-hour mark again, guys. So
that works.
We thought it'd be a short.
We're a measurement of time.
Hey, well, like I said, we're the 2-hour measurement. LBR is the 3-hour measurement. So, anyway, anybody else have other shout outs? Sayo?
I think I'm good this week.
How about Luna? I know you got some shout outs.
I want to shout out to Musecast. I'm actually going to be getting interviewed from them this coming week, so definitely head over there and give them a follow to find out when that comes out. So other than that, shout out to Twat Waffle 2016.
The hashtag fuck Twat Waffle.
Fuck you guys. Or fuck that guy.
And
Not you guys, that guy.
Yeah, but we're also in talks with the ladies from Musecast and maybe having them on our show in the future.
Yep, eventually they'll be here, but
as soon as we figure out what's going on with our other guests, we'll be arranging a time to get them on there. But we also want to do something with us as well too. So, and we are coming up on a year, guys. So we want to do something special for that year episode. So,
yep, we will definitely be doing that. So definitely give us a follow, give us a heart on Twitch to know when we go live.
Yeah, keep your eyes on social media for that. I want to give a shout out to everybody watching live here at Twitch. We got Beam on Deeds, Chili, Eternal Snowflake, Joey 2531, Lord of Cinders, Lanalieta, Majoga. Sorry, I'm really bad at that one. Malfested Alistair, Maribel Silverwind, Necromancer, Noxy Boo, Ralinarie. Sorry, really bad with that one. Thor Valgard. Thank you so much for checking us out live here. And to everybody who's listening to us on the podcast, if you want to come join us live sometime, we do every other Saturday night right here at twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio. So if you want to check it out live, feel free to do so. Or like I said, if you don't have the time and you just want to listen to us at your leisure, make sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher like iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music. And like I said, we would really appreciate a review. It'll help out people find us. Like I said, you can find us out on the web at phoenixdownradio.com. You can send us those emails at podcast@phoenixdownradio.com. We are out on Twitter at phoenixdownradio. Twitch right here, twitch.tv/phoenixdownradio, as well as out on Facebook, facebook.com/phoenixdownradio. And you can also search for us on YouTube. Just search for Phoenix Down Radio. As soon as we get enough people to subscribe to us there, we can maybe get our own custom URL. So maybe that's going to be another stretch goal down the road to get enough followers to get that custom URL. So if you want to watch us for to help us get that, you can always like us out on YouTube. Everybody's how you want to be words bad. I can't talk today.
Words are hard.
Where can we find us all?
Yeah. Where can you be found on Twitter, guys? That's the thing.
Well, since no one's stepping up, you can find me over on Twitter at Luna_Vox. That's LUNA_VOX. If you also want to follow me over on Tumblr, it's LunaVox FFXIV, all one word. I post a lot of screenshots. I'll probably be ranting off about Twat Waffle some more. And you can find a lot of stuff on my RP and on my RPLS and on my RPFC in-game on Hyperion. Shout out to them since I didn't get a shout out before. And yeah, definitely find me over there.
Sarah?
So you can follow me on Twitter at FFXIV Sayre. That's FFXIV SEYRR. It's mostly random musings about librarianship and occasional pictures of lunchboxes I made. But I don't know. Some people apparently are into that. I don't quite get you guys. I just post the stuff.
Lunchboxes. Sayo.
I should.
And you can find me at on Twitter at Sayomeo, SCYOMEYO, one word. I also have a Twitch. It's not really in much use right now, but I keep promising myself that I'm going to change that.
And he hasn't.
And I haven't.
One day.
One day.
One day.
Which is twitch.tv/Sayomeo_FFXIV.
Awesome. And if you want to follow me for some weird reason, you can find me at Klaus_FFXIV. That's Klaus with 2 S's. You're going to see a lot of retweets of the show stuff, Final Fantasy related things, as well as a lot of running that I do. I run for some reason, and usually not from cops. So that's a good thing.
Usually.
Actually, I don't think I've ever run from a cop. But that's maybe another story.
Change that.
Let's not and say we did. All right. Well, for Sayomeo, for Sarah Tomono, for Lunavox, I am Klaus Nightbringer. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. We wish you all a wonderful evening. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.